So, folks, Joe Biden keeps breaking the law. There's something for it. That's the subject of the riff tonight. One of the things Donald Trump should ask Joe Biden at the CNN presidential debate on Thursday is why he won't abide by the law regarding the cancellation of student loans. So, just last night, two U.S. federal judges, Daniel Crabtree in Kansas, and John Ross in Missouri, both of them are appointees of former President Barack Obama. They issued injunctions to prevent the Biden administration from canceling any more federal student debt. All right. In this case, they were blocking the so-called SAVE plan, which has a price tag of roughly $475 billion over the next 10 years. That according to the Penn-Wharton budget model. By the way, that model estimated that 750,000 households making over $312,000 in average household income would benefit. So much for helping low-income families. Of course, the plaintiffs in this case, which were attorneys general from Missouri and Kansas, they succeeded in making the case that Congress never gave President Biden the authority to cancel the loans. Now, back to Mr. Trump's hypothetical debate question to Joe Biden. The Biden press office responded to the court decisions by saying they're basically going to ignore it. Let me quote, "Today's rulings won't stop our administration from using every tool available to give students and borrowers the relief they need," said Karine Jean-Pierre. She went on to say, "That's why the Department of Education will continue to enroll more Americans in SAVE," end quote. So I'm sure folks watching the debate will be curious to hear Mr. Biden's answer and even more interested in why he's willing to break the law or why he's so intent on disrespecting the Supreme Court for that matter. Basically, Biden, who has criticized the Supremes in his State of the Union speeches, well, he sees the highest court in the land as just a bunch of Republican justices allied with elected Republican officials out there in the hinterland. Now, for a guy who talks a lot about preserving democracy, this is a very odd position to take, as he demeans and actually ignores the decision of one of the three branches of government. But never mind. He's going to just try to keep spending almost $600 billion worth of the student loan cancellations. That, according to the Penn-Wharton model. Federal court decisions be damned. Which brings me to the final point concerning possible fiscal questions in this CNN presidential debate. The latest CBO baseline during the Biden years, which go from 2023 to 2034, 10-year window, shows an increase in federal debt held by the public from $26.2 trillion to $50.7 trillion. As a share of GDP, that debt moves from 97% to 122%. Now, somebody's got to do something about spiraling federal spending and borrowing before America's finances become completely unmoored from any kind of market-based reality. And that's going to require a bold, balanced budget plan that restrains spending but holds down tax rates in order to promote revenue-enhancing economic growth. However, breaking the law or promoting a complete fiscal breakdown is not the path to a new American prosperity cycle. And that is my riff.